Hi everyone, it's Kate from the Fold Line. I am back this week to talk all things sewing bee. It was an interesting night last night. So the theme for the week was career. So there were 3 challenges as usual. They had a guest judge, which was exciting. And yeah, so I will get into it. So the first thing they had to make was a jigori, which is a traditional Korean sort of cropped jacket. It had this really beautiful sort of tie at the side, and yeah, it was quite an interesting one. One of those, I find those challenges where it looked like it was quite a simple make, but actually the finishing details that you needed to use to make it look really pristine did not make for an easy time for anyone. I thought they all did really well. So pattern wise for this, we have got, it's not obviously the correct jacket, but we've got a similar feeling one. It's a folkwear one, and it's a Korean hanbok. If I show you the picture, you can see what is going on. It's got that sort of, it's basically a two pieces, and we're just looking at the little jacket. It felt quite similar. It's that cropped style. The sleeves actually are cut with, you can see some curve in them, whereas the ones on the show actually were cut fairly straight. I loved, actually, did anyone think how lovely it was to have them displayed on that rod of wood? I thought they looked really amazing and really sculptural, and actually I was thinking that it would actually look really lovely to have that hung up on a wall. It would look amazing. Anyway, so if you wanted to have a crack at that, then I think this would be a really good starting point. It's got kind of a lot of the same stuff, that sort of tie detail. I don't know whether it's got the ties inside as well. It's hard to tell on from the line drawings, but yeah, similar feel. Not obviously not the same item of clothing, but definitely got the kind of same feel. The second challenge they had, which was actually I think my favourite upcycling challenge yet, they had taekwondo outfits, so cream, very simple kind of wrap top with elasticated trousers, and then they were given a set of the belts, the different colours depending what level you were. So there was a black, a yellow, a blue and a red, and they wanted you to kind of reimagine them, and I thought they were so beautiful. I thought they did such a fantastic job. They made really interesting sculptural pieces. Because the belts actually were really thick, it meant that when you attach those, they added like a really lovely structural detail to the whole thing. So that was the second challenge, and that was definitely, I think, my favourite one to date, and the things that they made were really beautiful. Because usually they're quite out there, but it was really good this week. So the final challenge, the made to measure, they had been given, which I thought was a really interesting brief. So they were given the item of clothing called a chuluk, which is a traditional, it was originally worn as a sort of undergarment for military dress. And they were given that and wanted to kind of reimagine it in a sort of modern way. And I thought it was really interesting brief, and what they did was really amazing. I will say it did mean that our hunt was slightly limited, because the garment was quite specific and quite a lot of them stayed quite true to the garment. There are a couple of people who went slightly off, but it meant that some of the patterns we kind of grouped people together, because you know what I mean. Anyone who saw it, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So what I'll do is I'll start with the people who've been banded together. So Kaz, Gaynor, Novello and Dan. They all made a garment that felt quite close to the original. Although Kaz had interesting things, like she had clips here, it still had that same crossover detail. The kind of, it felt like almost like a cropped jacket with then a dress attached. So the pattern that we found for this is an Etsy pattern, and it's from Pattern In, and it's a chuluk pattern, which is traditional. So I thought that one would work really well as a base for all of those 4. I think all of them had quite similar feel. Obviously there were slightly different details in them, but I feel like that one kind of covered quite a lot of the bases for that. Then we had Kit, and he had made this really interesting sort of cropped, yeah, it was like, for a man, it was sleeveless, and then it had these kind of pleated trousers, a really interesting piece. So I had a look and I found it's a McCalls pattern, the 7525, and I was thinking this felt quite close because it had that crossover detail at the front if you left the sleeves off, and then you get these pleated trousers which feel quite similar to the kind of feel that he was going for. Obviously this then is not the traditional item of clothing, but I was thinking about it and thinking this actually feels as a look very similar to what he had made, which was really beautiful. He is, I think, does anyone think? I think he might win. He's can handle his fabrics so well. He doesn't seem to get phased. He also said last night that he self-drafts everything, which I felt like is amazing. Anyway, then after Kit we had Jess and Yasmin, and again this is another Etsy one. It's from a company called Pink Nelly, and it's the same sort of feel. It's a Korean hanbok, but the reason I picked this one is because both of those had they were kind of much longer, and I thought this pattern felt really similar. It's got the length, it's got the drama. I know that Jess's had a shorter sleeve, which you could then just cut off, but I felt like this pattern particularly kind of ticked the boxes for both of them. Then we had Orla, who made this super cute little set. It was like a little jacket with a pleated pair of shorts, and I thought it was just amazing. I absolutely loved it. So for the top for Orla, another one from Etsy, from Pattern In again. It's a Korea traditional modern dress hanbok, and I picked this one because it's got the jacket and it's cropped and it felt similar proportions. She'd changed the neckline so that it was quite kind of wide cut. I thought it was really clever what she'd done, but I thought that one would be a really good starting point. And then for the shorts, she had these they were quite pleated, the shorts, and the pleats went the whole way around, and I thought it was really interesting. It looked kind of, and she'd made it in quite a structural fabric. The pattern that I found that I thought would work really well is the McCalls 7131, and if I show you, because this has been made in quite a floaty fabric, if you made this in a structured fabric you get more of the feel of Orla's one, but I picked this because it's got the pleats kind of going the whole way around, and I thought that would definitely work quite well. Last but not least, we've got Stuart, and I thought what he did was really clever. So he'd like taken the military influence, so he'd put a traditional trench coat and mixed it with the chuluk, and I thought it was a really great and interesting kind of hybrid, and what he made was great actually. So when there was some shots and I could see that he'd use a commercial pattern, I could see the logo, like it was slightly blurred out because they were doing that now, which is very annoying, but I was fairly sure that it was a Nomi pattern just from how it looked and me being an absolute nerd. And then I started to have a look. So we've got this, it's like a trench coat wrap dress, and I felt like this might have been the base that he used to get started. And it's the Nomi 2020. It's such a great pattern. It's got these quite sculptural pockets on the front. It's really clever actually. It's a really interesting take on a trench coat mixed with a dress. But just looking at the line drawing, it had quite a few of the features, and I was thinking that he might have used that as his base for the trench coat. I will say, if there's anything that you think you saw that and thought, no, Kate, you have got that wrong, let us know, because these are just my thoughts, and it's quite early in the morning, so I could have got it wrong. And yeah, let me know what you think. But that one I thought could be what he used for his. But yes, so that is everything this week. So it's a bit shorter because everything's sort of, there are quite a few using the same patterns. Yeah, I thought it was a really interesting week and really tough. I just think that the challenge is just getting harder and harder, and the time limits, and anyway, they're doing very, very well. Patrick and Esme are very happy with their progress, aren't you guys? I actually quite like how it's quite nice having them here with me, having some company while I do this. Anyway, I will let you get on with your days and let me know your thoughts down below. Bye.